American Craftsman podcast is sponsored by Hayfla. Hayfla offers a wide range of products and solutions for the woodworking and furniture making industries, from hinges and drawer slides to connectors and dowels, sandpaper, wood glue, shop carts, and everything in between. Exclusive product lines such as Lux LED lighting and Slido door hardware ensure that every project you create is built to last. Learn more at hayfla.com. Additional sponsorship provided by Ridge Carbide. When you need the right saw blade for the job, put your trust in Ridge Carbide tools. For over 50 years, Ridge Carbide has been producing industrial saw blades designed with the exact specifications for the cutting results you expect. Before you buy, call us and we'll help you determine the right tool that meets your needs and your budget. After the sale, Ridge Carbide provides sharpening services for all your saw blades, dado sets, router bits, and jointer planer knives. Located in Kansas, Ridge Carbide Tools provides high-quality products with outstanding customer service at a fair price. What are you cutting? Enjoy the show. All right, welcome back to the show. It's hard to time that. I feel like the intro is just painfully long.
Add it to the list.
Yeah. We're here last week of summer, unofficial week.
I can't believe it.
I know.
I'm kind of happy, actually.
Yeah. I like this time of year, like maybe it's a little early, but the next, say like 6 weeks, this is like the time of year.
Perfect weather.
Yep.
It's amazing because we are a shore destination.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all the visitors right now, which is fun. And then it just becomes locals only.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
And luckily here, we've already phased out the like real out of towners because everybody else goes back to school early. So like the people that are here now are really somewhat local. It's all tri-state people.
True.
And then after Monday, they'll all be gone.
We had some of our best like days at the beach in very late August, early September when the kids were little. You'd get like a nice swell would come in, just like 4 to 5 foot waves, nice low tide. And I just have great memories of the kids, me being out there with them, boogie boarding, surfing, whatever, and very few people on the beach.
Yeah, and the water's the warmest at that point.
And clear because there's not as much boat traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the boat traffic actually affects the ocean like it does the river. Because the river is crystal clear, like the third week in September.
Mm-hmm.
But you go onto the river now, and you can't even see to the bottom.
I saw pictures of the beach in like Long Branch from the weekend. It looked like Florida. It was like, blue-green water. Like in the wintertime here, the water's like almost like brown because it's getting so churned up from all the, because we get those northeast winds and everything gets all churned up. And it was like, it looked almost like tropical.
Yeah, it's amazing. My son, I think Jack has video of him surfing on a wave with hundreds of rays or skates. Mm-hmm. I think you call them skates, right?
Yeah, skate is like a small, I don't know if they're, how closely they're related, if they're like a different.
It's like a stingray, but people don't really put that together with the Jersey Shore. Like I posted a short video on my Instagram on a bike ride I did out to the Hook on Sunday night. And people just don't think of Jersey because I was riding along the coast and then to my right is the ocean and to my left was a bunch of guys out kite surfing.
Yep.
So it's a pretty cool area.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Jersey gets a bad rap. And if you've, we all know it, but nobody else does. Everybody from, these flyover states.
They think they're going to Newark.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But every state has areas that look like that, but not every state has areas. Well, I don't want to generalize. Every state has nice areas and not so nice areas, but people seem to forget about the nice areas in Jersey. We have mountains, we have rivers, creeks, and the beach and everything.
Yeah, I think this part of Jersey doesn't have the rivers so much.
Yeah, but you just drive a half hour.
So if you were looking for a river a half hour from here, where are you going?
You got the Raritan, you got the Manasquan.
Wait, so you'd go way upriver?
Well, you can go like right down to like say what would be west of like the Brick area. You know, you have Manasquan River where you can catch sea run trout up into the Manasquan. You know, you can catch all the freshwater species.
Wow.
You know, the Raritan, you know, you have to go further north, like say an hour, 90 minutes to get to like the real nice fly fishing sections of the Raritan. But, you know, the Raritan is renowned for its trout fishing.
Well, the Raritan, I think that's where that bull shark went up in like the 19...
what Jaws is based on.
Yeah, like the 1920s. That's what Jaws is based on.
1916, I think it was.
Yeah.
I just watched a little documentary on YouTube about that. It was cool.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so it started, I think, in Spring Lake. There was an attack, like a guy who worked in the hotel.
Yeah.
He went out for a swim on his break, and his legs just got eaten.
Well, that's what happens. You just bleed out.
Yeah. And then like a couple days later, a little further north, I forget where exactly it was. Might have been Long Branch. I don't know. Anyway, maybe Spring Lake was the second one. Another person got attacked. I forget if it was a tourist or somebody else. And then in Matawan, up in the river right here, which is it's not the Raritan River.
Oh, okay.
It's it might just be like a creek.
Yeah.
A kid and a man got killed in
Which
the
is
creek.
crazy because they're in a creek.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the thing with bull sharks. They can go in, I guess, brackish water.
Yeah.
Like they might even be able to go in fresh water.
I think, yeah, for a certain amount of time.
But, yeah, that's kind of I don't know if a lot of people know of the origins of Jaws, but that's where it comes from.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure it was a bull shark.
Yeah, I should send you the thing. It was pretty cool. It's maybe like 20 minutes long, like this little documentary that somebody made. Yeah. There's a bridge in Matawan or like it might be just like a culvert or something, but they have like a big Jaws like painted. So the mouth is like in the culvert.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty cool. Let me see. I'll pull it up.
Well, I remember hearing a story that somebody was going over the bridge and saw a big shark swimming underneath it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they ran and they told people, but then the kid had already been attacked and then somebody, I think, went out to try and save him and then they got killed or something.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that is wild.
Street art inspired by the New Jersey shark attacks of 1916.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And it was, oh yeah. And then they killed a shark. Like they went out on the hunt afterwards and they found a shark that had a bunch of human remains in its stomach. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I never heard that part.
Yep.
Weren't they going out there with like dynamite? They were just going to town, I think.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 1916.
Yeah. There's nobody watching over. Nobody cared about the sharks in 1916.
Right. And in the movie, it was placed in Long Island. Is that what it was?
I think it was. Yeah, it was. I forget the name of the town now.
I think this is the video. I'm not going to click on it because it's going to do the sound, but I'll make sure and then I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth checking out. It's like, I mean, that's such a better half hour than anything you're going to see on actual TV.
It's amazing how you get these small documentaries. Like I saw a documentary on 106.3 Modern Rock at the Jersey Shore. Do you not remember 106.3?
No.
So you're probably too young.
And I wasn't in this area. You know, I only came out this way in like 2010, say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Modern Rock at the Jersey Shore was, excuse me, a kind of a new, I don't know, new wave? No. They played like grunge. They played like everything.
Alternative?
Yeah, alternative is the word. And it was just a really great station. And then I think at some point it just, it turned into a country station. I guess it wasn't making any, I don't know what it is today, but it was really good. And there's a documentary. I'll try to find a link to it because it's pretty cool. It really had a big following. You had people like the Chili Peppers going there. You had like big bands going there because, it was around this area. If you weren't on 102, I think 102.7 or 90.3, you weren't getting played. So pretty cool to have a small rock station with such a following.
Yeah.
Really loyal following. So yeah, it just goes to show you, like, these small documentaries can be really great.
Yeah, that was like Rob and I talked on one episode a while back about was it Birch Hill, which was a music venue in New Jersey. And like if you go, you can go back and find the like the tickets or whatever, like where not the tickets, where they say who played on the date or whatever. I don't know what the hell you call that. It's crazy. It's like all these huge bands, and this is like, you know, late 90s, early 2000s. It'd be like System of a Down, and then it was like the next year they were like platinum. You know what I mean? It was like all of these bands that just exploded were playing at this place, just like some shithole in New Jersey. You know,
I've been on a System of the Down kick lately.
I like them. That was like one of my favorite bands in middle school.
Oh man, they're just so good. They're so good. It's pretty intense stuff.
Oh yeah.
Did you see the there's a good show on Netflix. It might be called Meat.
MEAT or MEET?
I thought it was MEAT, and I think it had one of the stars is a Korean comedian, female. I forget her
Ali
name.
Wong?
Could be, yeah.
I don't know if she's Korean. That was the only one that popped into my mind.
Let's see if I can find it here. But just really great soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And they had a song from System of a Down. I was like, wow. It just kind of reignited my interest in that band.
Yeah.
And then you just go down a rabbit hole. And then me and my 15-year-old daughter will be driving around listening to System of the Down.
And is she into it?
She will be. She likes Taylor Swift.
Right.
She likes a lot of crummy rap. Like, I like rap, but some of this rap.
The new stuff is bad.
And then, like, she'll be in my truck with 5 of her girlfriends. Like, they'll all just be packed into the truck, and she'll go to put her music on, and the lyrics, and I'll just say, I'm not listening to this.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing normal about a grown man listening to these lyrics with these 15-year-old girls. And I mean, it's just like, if you don't feel weird, then you're weird.
Right. Yeah, we were driving home in the U-Haul from dropping off those kitchen cabinets, and I didn't have a cable or anything to hook up my phone, so we just had the radio on. And I was like, oh, let me put on Hot 97, which that's like the New York, at least it used to be, hip hop station. Hot 97. They always played it was Hot 97. They played the hottest hits or whatever, and we listened to maybe half a dozen songs. They were so bad. It was all like, it's like this like mumble rap, they call it.
Yeah. And it seems like everybody's using an auto-tune.
And the beat, every beat was like the same. Like if you go back to like, I'd say like 1999 was like the pinnacle of hip hop. Like the beats that those guys were making were just all crazy,
so
like
good.
These crazy produced beats. You had guys like Timbaland and like Kanye West was a producer at that time. They were doing all these samples from the 60s and 70s, and it was just cool, you know?
Every artist she puts on sounds like the next artist.
Mm-hmm.
And she does like country music, and so I like country music too. So she's got me into that a little bit. The name of that series on Netflix is Beef.
Beef.
Yeah, BEEF. And it was Ali Wong, you're right.
Okay. She's funny.
She is funny, and it's a great show. And I would definitely recommend it. And David Cho is in it.
That sounds familiar.
David Cho is he's an artist. Just a really I found it to be a good series. Like if you're looking for something.
Oh yeah, I know David Cho.
Yeah,
I've heard him on Rogan back in the day.
Yeah,
he's got some crazy stories.
Yeah,
when he was like in the jungle, like, and then he like claims he saw like that dinosaur that's in the jungle.
I listened to him a few times too, and I thought some of it was like take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, just look at him. He's a little bit out there.
Yeah, I'm listening to Russell Crowe on Rogan right now, and it's pretty interesting. The exercise regimens that he was on for Cinderella Man, and just the dedication. Like sometimes you can be like, oh, it's an actor. What are they doing?
Mm-hmm.
But then there are some real, some of these guys and gals really put their physical bodies through a lot.
Oh yeah, look at Christian Bale in what was that movie, The Machinist? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, that was a good one.
He was like in 80 pounds or something, like 85 pounds.
Well, the same thing with, I can't remember an actor's name for the life of me, but it was the Texas dude.
Oh, yeah. Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah.
What the hell's that guy's name?
I forget, but he lost a ton of weight. And he said I heard him on a different podcast, and he was talking about it took him like a year to kind of really recover.
Yeah, he looked horrible in that movie. 120 pounds. Okay, I was off by 40 pounds. But
still.
Yeah, look at him.
Tall, and he's a tall guy.
Yeah, wow. Like, from Batman to... Wait, did he play Batman, didn't he?
He did play Batman, and he played... he was also... one of his first films was when he was a young kid in... He was in a Japanese prison camp during World War II.
Really? I haven't seen that.
Empire of the Sun. Great movie. Really, really good movie. It's interesting to see him grow.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good movie.
I have to check that out. I just got a new TV.
That's exciting.
75-inch.
Holy
Put it in
cow.
my bedroom.
Wow.
It just fits between the windows. There's like 4 inches on either side. It's crazy.
How thin is it? Because they're like paper thin now, aren't they?
Yeah, this is like I didn't spend a lot of money. TVs are so cheap now.
Where'd you get it?
Best Buy.
Wow.
$469 or something. They're so cheap.
Why are TV? Because a year ago or 2 years ago, I bought a TV and they weren't cheap.
Yeah, no, they were. Obviously you get a better TV the more you spend, but it's maybe like this thick in the thickest part.
So what something like that go for?
It was $469.
Oh, $469. You said that. Yeah. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's 4K. It's like a Fire TV, so it's got all the apps. It's like this. It's got all the apps built into it.
Isn't it wild that you don't have to think about like routing cables anywhere? You can just hang something on the wall, plug it in. As long as you got power. All
you need is, just the power cord. That's
great.
Yeah.
I mean, pretty much everything in your house, like your alarm systems, everything.
Mm-hmm.
If you got power, you're good.
Yeah. Thermostat is, that has a thermostat wire, but Wi-Fi, control it from your phone.
Yeah.
We hooked up the Nintendo Switch to it, which is nice. So we're playing like Mario Party, the three of us, which is it's just like a fun, easy game.
That reminds me, I watched a real classic this weekend, War Games.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever see that?
Long time ago, yeah.
Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy.
Yep.
That was a good movie.
I think they were talking about remaking that.
It'd be kind of scary today.
Yeah. I'm sure it was scary back then.
It kind of was scary, but I mean, that was 1984, so I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't that scary. Right now, I feel like the world is really scary.
If you were an adult, though, you probably would have been scared. Because you're in high school, you're like, whatever.
Yeah, I think you're
like,
right.
Nothing scares me.
I think you're right. Young and dumb. You just go underneath your desk, right?
Yeah, duck and cover.
Yeah, duck and cover.
Yeah, now, I see you see those St. Jude's commercials or something. Like, that's enough to put me out for the whole day.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Oh, I guess we should talk a little bit about woodworking or something.
What are you working on? I'm working on a couple things.
So I'm wrapping up probably in the next day or two that cherry cabinet with the white door to match the stuff that's under the stairs.
I definitely would like to shoot a video on that and get your B-roll from the last project. I love that project.
Yeah.
I love the way cherry and white look together.
Yeah.
It's such a clean modern look. It's modern, but at the same time, it's warm.
Yeah, I forgot how good, because I'm using the vesting on that, I forgot how good cherry with an oil finish on it looks.
That seems to have darkened up already.
So I put it out in the sun this morning.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah, I was thinking about wheeling it out front because I get real direct sun out in the front in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Just to kickstart it a little bit, because I told the client, I'm like, listen, you have to realize, I'm going to put this in. It's going to look different than the other stuff, because that's been in your house for
2 years at least.
Yeah.
Well, I've left cherry boards in my truck where they're sort of crisscrossed over, not even for more than 15 minutes, and you'll have a big shadow line.
Yeah. So Keith milled up the solid stock for that stuff several weeks ago, and it was just sitting on the racks over there. And when I unwrapped it, it was it had like stripes that I had to like sand out.
Yeah, cherry is a really one of my favorite woods. Just so nice to work with. It just ages beautifully. Like I'd like to build my dining room table out of cherry, but my wife has got her heart set on walnut, and it's going to get sun exposure, so it's going to lighten up. It's not going to be as dense as I feel like cherry's a little bit more dense than walnut.
I think walnut is actually harder, like on the Jenga scale.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I feel like it's easier to damage. I don't know.
I feel like it could be a little imposing. Like a big chunk of walnut like that is like, because it's so dark, it could be like a little bit heavy, whereas cherry is like a little bit.
Yeah, but cherry does take on, I don't know. I think walnut just looks more modern somehow.
Yeah. I feel like cherry gets a bad rap because it was popular in a time when design was kind of antiquated.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe it wasn't antiquated at the time, but now we look at it as antiquated. But like, if you use a really modern design, I think cherry lends itself really well.
I think the red in it though just has something in it that. So I have a few pieces of cherry furniture in my house, and I think they look good. But I do think my wife has a point on this table. I think walnut is probably the way to go. I would lean a little bit towards white oak, just because it's going to get full sun, and white oak seems to be the most stable wood for color. But she's not going to have that, so looks like walnut.
I've got a mountain of red oak over there.
I know you're never going to be able to get rid of that.
No. I offer it to anybody who comes by. I'm like, if you ever need to build anything out of red oak, just let me know.
It's funny, red oak. I mean, it always reminds me of Dunkin' Donuts and McDonald's. There's something about it. I love white oak. I don't necessarily love working with white oak.
Me neither. The edges are.
Yeah, you
get them square and they're super sharp. And then you go to sand them and you're always having a piece flake off. Always.
Yeah. That's where you have to be using that Star Bond.
Yeah.
You're always like, I'm always like just tacking pieces together and then sanding it down again. Where cherry is definitely my favorite wood to work with.
Yeah.
Like cutting dovetails, not that I love cutting dovetails, but if I'm going to cut dovetails, cutting them in cherry is just really nice.
And it always has such an interesting color and grain to it. Like you get so many colors coming through in cherry. You get grays and pinks and greens and browns and.
Yeah. And if you don't mind the sapwood, then you can work with that too.
Yeah. I think, used in the right context, it looks nice. And Freddie Roman said something recently that I never even realized or thought about, that like the New England cherry is more red. And the Pennsylvania cherry is a little more brown. And all the cherry that I've ever bought is from Pennsylvania.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that. I don't even know where my cherry is coming from. But I guess it's coming. I guess if I get it from Lewis in the future, it'll be coming from Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, I thought about building the sauna with cherry, but now I'm going to eventually build that out of poplar.
I just saw a sauna for sale.
Did you? You're on Facebook all the time, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. After I texted you, now it's like ice plunges and saunas.
It's funny how that your phone and your computer is just clued. I mean, they're definitely listening to us.
Yeah, even if not like listening, like listening to sound, they just know,
Well, it was really funny because I saw a short clip. It was just like Saturday night. I saw a short clip on Joe Rogan was talking to a guest about how Dark Side of the Moon syncs up with.
I saw that too. And then I saw that you posted about it.
Yeah. So you saw that. Sure. So we're talking about the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. It was, what's that guy's name? Not Tony Hinch. Was it Tony Hinchcliffe?
I don't know.
Yeah. He does a podcast / YouTube show called Kill Tony.
Okay. Yeah.
That is a riot.
I'll have to check that out. I've heard it's good.
It's super raunchy, but it is a riot.
I've heard about it. So I saw that little clip and I thought, oh, that's interesting. this is like something that my wife is not going to be interested in at all. So she's doing something and I'm in front of the TV. I'm like, oh, I'll check that out. So I am trying to sync up. First, I'm doing a search for Wizard of Oz. I find that, and then I go to Spotify, and I'm trying to start Dark Side of the Moon at the same time the show is starting. Mm-hmm. And then something comes up on my phone, a notification for YouTube, Wizard of Pink Floyd. So I click on that, and it's already done. So then I go to the smart TV and click on YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I had never heard of it before, but it does sync up, and it's pretty cool. I've checked it out before. I can't remember. I think I might have been in an altered state of consciousness. That seems like the best way to watch that.
Yeah.
The funny, one of the first comments is like, hats off to the first stoner who realized this.
Yeah.
You know, that guy's a legend.
That's like the people who would like play like the Ozzy Osbourne backwards, you know?
That's funny. Well, when I was a kid, it was all backwards stuff, like Led Zeppelin backwards. I don't know what any of it really amounted to, but it was always like the Eagles with Hotel California. That was all like supposed to be like Satan worshiping kind of stuff. Meanwhile, if you ever hear an interview with Don Henley, it's like it had nothing to do with any of that.
Yeah. And you play anything backwards, it sounds weird.
Yeah. And I mean, they were just saying like the lyrics in Hotel California was a satanic thing. And it was just, you know, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. You know, you can never leave. And,
yeah. So you're working on this cherry cabinet that I definitely want to get back over here and make some video of that and then get some of your footage from the original build. Because I know that I'm interested in that just from a design point of view. So I figure the viewers will be interested in that as well.
Yeah.
You never know what's going to spark an idea. Because I've said it before, I think one of the hardest things about woodworking is having a good design and a good idea. So like the way you guys put those cabinets underneath those stairs was a great use of space and it looks fantastic.
Thanks.
So I think it's a good video and a good way to, I don't know, use that footage because you don't have any videos of that. You just have the stills.
Yeah, I don't think so. But, you know, since we already filmed the video for this week, if we wait until I install, I can get some video of it there.
So what we just filmed this week was the best products for exterior projects. So I think that was sort of inspired by the Adirondack chair that you built. And then I did do an exterior project last week, but that could be more about fasteners and wood.
Yeah.
Because I ended up using mahogany, and I got a DM from Rob DeMarco because I didn't know what the mahogany was called. And he said it's probably Sippo mahogany. I mentioned that to Jeff, and Jeff said, yeah, they use that a lot. I guess he and Corey use that a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not something that I've used. We always use Sapele. But I've heard a lot of good things about Sippo.
It looks good. It was $480 a linear foot as opposed to for 5/4, as opposed to $720 for 1x6 Ipe. And I didn't even look for Sapele because I did want the round. I wanted the decking boards with a little round over. So that worked out great because I was able to get 12 footers. And the 12 footers were 12 feet, 1 inch. I needed, I think, 12 pieces that were 35 3/4. So I have like no waste.
Right.
I love that. So it turned out to be kind of an expensive project for a little dry well with a deck over it, but it looks good and it drains the water. It's for an outdoor shower, but I didn't mention that.
Did you seed the berm that you're putting in?
I didn't. So now I excavated out an area 2 feet deep by 3 feet by 6 feet, put down landscape fabric, and then put drainage stone on that. And so all that material that I removed, I'm turning into a berm. And it's not good material. I mean, it's from the courtyard, so it's like sand.
Yeah, it looked pretty sandy.
Yeah, a lot of just kind of fill dirt from the construction. I found a lot of bricks.
I was shocked how sandy my dirt was when they put in the fence.
Huh.
Like,
well, this whole area.
Yeah.
You go mountain biking, you see a lot of sand in the woods. So right now I've just got this ugly mound of dirt that's about I don't know, 18 or 20 feet long that I've got to level out a little bit and then put some topsoil on it and then seed it. I'm trying to get in touch with Jonathan Greene to try to do a project for them. The woman that I've worked with at Jonathan Greene for the last 6 years left.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to reestablish that relationship. That often can be, the thing between getting a job and not getting a job.
Yeah.
So luckily I have the owner's number. I'll just send him a text maybe if I don't hear from him. We'll see.
Yeah, man. Like if I took over a position like that, first thing I would do would be reach out to every old contact and be like, hey, I'm the new.
She called me and told me, hey, I'm leaving and these people will get in touch with you, and they never have. So, but that happens. Like I've worked with Mountain Khakis, I think, for 6 or 7 years, and then somebody left and that relationship sort of fell away. And then somebody else went in and now I'm working with them again.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because I was getting ready to buy clothes. Like I haven't bought clothes in ages. And I'm like, oh man, Laurel, I'm going to have to break down and actually go shopping and buy some clothes.
Where were you going to go?
I was probably going to go to Mountain Khakis.
Yeah.
I just like I like the way their pants fit. So, and I had already bought one pair of pants because I needed something. And next thing you know, I get an email and I'm like, okay, great. And she goes, why don't you just go ahead and pick a few styles? And I'm going on vacation. That way you get the clothes. And then when I get back, we can start coming up with a plan. So I literally just went and picked a bunch of stuff, sent her a screenshot. 4 days later, a box shows up at my door. So I'm like,
nice.
This is great.
Yeah.
So hopefully the way I've always just worked with them for clothing. So it's never been a lucrative deal, but it's just nice to get good clothes.
Yeah. Yeah. Because they're not cheap.
No, they're not. You spend a lot of money and it's nice to, it's also nice not to go shopping and the whole thing. So I think going forward, I'm going to have some kind of either coupon code or something so they can actually track how many sales this relationship makes, which will be great because I have people all the time asking me, oh, what clothes are you wearing and this and that. And I have it in the descriptions of the video, but I'm not really motivated to push because they've never been open to a relationship like this.
Right.
So now if they are going to be more of a serious partnership, then I'll probably make a separate space on my website for brand ambassador and all that sort of stuff and really try to sell their clothing. And then it'll be fun to see what kind of sales they make.
Yeah, the coupon code thing is tough. Because we've had them before, like with Unita, we had one. And I know of like a half a dozen people who bought that 3x4 sander directly from our recommendation. Like I spoke to them about it personally and they're like, yeah, no, only 2 people have used the code and you were one of them. I'm like, okay.
So I worked with Acme Tools and I kind of I probably should have treated this relationship a little bit differently because it probably would have worked out over time. But they gave me a decent amount of tools and I posted a few videos where they were the direct sponsor. And then there was going to be no pay, but I would get a certain amount with
like a percentage.
Yeah, a certain percentage. So I had a few close friends who needed tools, who bought tools, and it didn't register.
Right.
And so that just kind of gave me like a bad taste in my mouth. And then they wanted me to promote this, some combo kit like DeWalt or Makita or whatever. I said, okay, that sounds good to me. Send me the combo kit and I'll make the video and, at least I'm getting the tools. Everything's cool at this point. And it ended cool, but the relationship was still going. So they said, yeah, we just don't want to send you the tools though. And I said, well, I don't know how I'm going to make a video about tools and talk about these tools and test these tools out and show these tools in action without you sending me the tools.
Right. It'll just have to be just like a passing comment. Like, oh, by the way, Acme Tools is having a sale.
Which nobody's going to listen to. Who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Like if they'd sent me the tools, think about all the reels and posts and videos I could have made. So it kind of went back and forth and it ended with me just saying, I'm sorry, I just don't know how to do a video that way, so I'm not going to do it. And then it just kind of slowly burnt out and faded away. But meanwhile, I think if I didn't do that deal, but if I pursued the relationship, it probably could have been pretty lucrative. And I can still maybe revive that relationship, but I could have also maybe pushed today's Craftsman into it.
Yeah.
And maybe we could have been in a place where we were getting tools once a month, which is cool to get tools once a month, but also great to create content around tools.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like we talked about, like, man, we should make a video about like a tool because we haven't done it in a while. And it's like, only buying tools every so often. And like a lot of times what I'm buying is not like the hot new cool tool that's going to get views on social media,
Yeah. Well,
so that would be cool to have like a partnership with whomever, Acme Tools or Tool Nut, something like that, where they could send us, hey, this is the new Milwaukee pin nailer, whatever.
I've gotten past the point where, like, I don't care about reaching out. I don't care if somebody says no to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I may reach back out to Acme with that proposal and just put a link to the Tough Built video and say, hey, do you want to do this? We'll do, we'll start off with, 6 videos a year. See how it goes. Or maybe 12 videos a year, one a month. And if they go for it, like, that's the thing. It's all business. There's nothing personal here. You're just saying, hey, do you want to, I think that this might have some legs to it. And I also think that, like, I don't really enjoy doing tool videos on my own because I'm not a gearhead, where you're a gearhead. You're like a self-described gearhead. Yeah. So if you get a tool, you're going to know the ins and outs of it, and you'll be able to get that information out. And that will also be a fun video for me to edit. Mm-hmm. So
that's pretty easy for me too, because I'm kind of just like, the tool's right there in front of you. I'm just going over what's right there. I can see it with my own eyes,
Yeah. And if it's a good tool, then you'll be using it in the future, and it's something that you can tag back to. You can make a short and then connect the original video to it. And then if it's an affiliate link, so it could be a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. And I think people like the episodic nature of like, every 4 weeks, there's a tool video coming out on today's Craftsman. They might not consciously know that it's like, every 4 weeks, but I think people like to see patterns.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Let me ring in my doorbell. One sec.
Do you cut this part out, or you just Jeff's answering the door, so we're seeing who's at the door now.
Hey, what's up? All right, we're back. Had a couple visitors.
Yeah, all of a sudden, pretty popular.
Yeah, Rich from Hayfla stopped by, dropped off a sample, and actually a drawer box order from Hayfla as well.
That's great, because that was supposed to come tomorrow. Is that for your kitchen?
Those are for, so that the white kitchen job that I did down in Avon, they had me doing some doors and drawers on the 3rd floor.
Nice.
In like a built-in that the GC built.
So somebody built it, and you're going in to install new drawers.
Yep.
And you're going to just bring down your drawer slides and your drawers and figure it out?
Yeah, so the new doors showed up yesterday. I have, 10 drawers and 2 doors.
So would you just go down there and measure it and order everything? Cool.
Yeah. Primed, they'll paint it.
What kind of construction did the GC do?
Not one that I would have done.
That's what I was worried about.
Yeah. It's like, I'll do it, but like I really don't. I don't want to.
Because it's an existing customer.
Yeah.
I
don't want to be like, nah, man, I'm not going to do that for you.
Yeah. Well, you never know. It might lead to something else.
Yeah. And I charge for my time. It's all just T&M. So if it takes me 8 hours to do it, it's 8 hours. It takes me 6,
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice. I'm sure it'll look good too when it's done.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a shaker inset. Here, I could show you. I have it right here.
So what did he do? Just frame it out?
They built.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, built these cabinets. Originally, it was supposed to be overlay.
It's kind of weird that he would agree to do something halfway. Like, why would he say, "Okay, I'll do that, but I'm not going to do the drawers or doors"?
It's just not really in their wheelhouse,
But why would he agree to do any of it? Like, why wouldn't he say, "Oh, why don't you just get the kitchen guy?"
Well, I guess it keeps his guys busy, you know, building the cabinets.
But I mean, if you didn't go and say, "Okay, I'll finish this," who are they going to get to finish that? That could be a difficult thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what I mean.
And I did it on the first floor too, in the like living room and the mud room. Same thing.
So maybe that's why he did it, because he already knew that he had you in the wings to do it.
Yeah, yeah. So originally, the first floor stuff was like they floated the client. Like it was something that I was potentially going to do, but it was like I was so busy that the kitchen itself was stretching me.
I got you.
And then they had somebody else that they were thinking about using, and I think nobody ever pulled the trigger. And it was like, okay, now the GC's got to build the built-ins.
So what's the finish on the built-ins?
Just painted, white painted. I don't know what product they're using, but
was that just all built with plywood boxes?
Yeah, there's a face frame.
There is a face frame.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually, here, I'll show you what it looks like last time I was there.
Did they paint it?
Yeah.
How were the face frames joined? Oh yeah, that looks pretty good.
I don't know if they're pocket screwed or they might just be like, but it's just like built in place kind of stuff, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like, I don't know, look, they primed it with bin, and then I can't tell what the other paint is.
But they left it natural inside.
Yeah.
So there's no overspray on the inside, which is nice. I mean, not that matters, I guess.
Yeah, they like taped it off and they're paint, you know, they're like brush painting everything.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's not a bad little job.
No, not at all.
Nice to fill it, you know, it'll go down there for a day. It'll be.
Yeah, you're going to get paid, and it's not like a lot of mental real estate.
No, I'll make a jig because they're all 25 inches high by whatever deep. They're all 18-inch drawer boxes, so I'll just make a jig that I can slap on the side, pre-drill the holes, throw the slides in.
See, I hear that, and I think, is that a video?
Yeah.
Is that a video? What do you think? I mean, it sounds like a video to me.
I don't know. Everything to me is just so mundane that...
No, I hear you, and I know what you're saying, but like that, like as soon as you say you're going to make a jig, you're going to make something that's somewhat complicated, relatively easy, that's going to work out.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of making that jig.
Mm-hmm. I might even use a laser. It depends. Sometimes it takes more time to draw it and put it to like send it to the laser than it does to just do it yourself.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. I've never used a laser, but I can imagine that.
Because I'll just drill 3/8-inch holes and I'll use that like VIX bit with the 5mm bit.
Yep.
And then I'll use Euro screws.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thinking of the laser makes me think Walter and I are trying to kind of come up with some projects. Not so much projects, but products.
I sent him a picture of my Veritas square that I have. You ever seen that? It's like, it looks like kind of like a double square, but it's fat. It's like real wide.
No.
They don't make it anymore. It's a great tool. I was using it and Keith was like, this is another example of like, you know, everything is just so regular to me now that because I've just been doing all this stuff for so long. He's like, oh man, he's like, what's that thing? He's like, that's cool. I'm like, oh, this? I'm like, this is this Veritas. I forget what they call it, a cabinet maker or something. But they don't make it anymore. So I sent it to Walter. I'm like, this is something that like, you know, you can make.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun, all the stuff he's doing, because it opens up your vocabulary to so much more. You know, it's pretty cool. I know that he's going away for a couple of days, but then when he gets back, I think we're going to meet with my web guy and try to figure out a good way to come up with we have a few products in mind, but then also come up with a way, I think it's a pre-order or something. Yeah. So a drop, they call it. Yeah, but it's the idea of like, you don't have that investment until you're already, right. You know that it's going to pay off. It's like with the salt boxes. Exactly. We don't make them until we're paid. Yeah. I'm not going to make it and then hope to sell it. Are you done with those? Are you going to do I'm never going to do them again. Really? I can't. My wife asked me the same thing like 2 days ago. Really? Okay. It's too much of a risk. It's too much stress. I just responded to another, because the video that we originally shot on the salt box is 3 years ago or more. It's done really well. I don't know. I never remember how many views, but it could be 200,000 or 600,000, but it's done well. And occasionally you get the comment, I think that's way overpriced, $100 a box. You know, people say that, or I could get this at the dollar store. And so somebody said something the other day, and I was like, well, they're all sold out. So,
right.
you know, and I said, they sell out within 24 hours. I mean, I understand you not wanting to do them.
Usually it's like less than 15 minutes.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I think I mentioned, I said that, you know, it's a part of the product has to do with very well-known chefs. I mean, that's really what it takes.
And a quarter of the sales price goes to charity.
Yeah. But, you know, there's just that. I don't get that much like nasty comments on YouTube, but occasionally do. Usually I just don't answer them.
Yeah.
The salt boxes, sometimes it's fun too, because I'm like, well, you have to wait for the next order. You know what I mean? Like I would never buy one of those, and I'm like, oh, they're not available right now. But if you wait, they might come up again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You have some time to think about it.
Yeah. But they are nice. That, you know, my wife has one, and I have an extra one that I'm giving to my mother. I keep forgetting to bring down the shore, but they're really nice.
Yeah, I just gave Leilani. I had 3 that were the lid was all jacked up, so I cut them off. So they're only about whatever up to that second to last finger is, and they're just like open.
Nice little box.
I'm like, you want these? It's like, yeah. I was like, because I'm just going to throw them out.
Well, you know, the other thing though is these are a hell of a lot of work. I mean, these are a lot of work.
Oh my God, FedEx is trying to get in. 1 second. Okay, it wasn't FedEx, it was Amazon.
Do you know if they have somebody else who will make the boxes?
I don't know. We haven't discussed the fact that I'm not doing them anymore.
Okay. Could be an opportunity for someone else.
Yeah, I floated it by somebody. They didn't. They've seen behind the scenes. They didn't sound too interested.
Now the boxes were the main motivation to get the laser.
Yeah, it was the whole origin of the laser. So it was, oh man, we're gonna have to hand brand all of these boxes. So originally we were gonna just get a stacked shaper cutter that would cut that side in one shot, you know, stacked up like a box joint.
Sure.
And I'm like, man, we're going to have to hand brand 1,000 boxes. I'm like, what if we just got like a small laser and then we could put them and then, you know, it'll just do it. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, can't we just cut the whole thing on a laser? And then I ended up sending the file down to Chad at Chad's Custom Creations. He cut a sample, confirmed that it would work, and then bought the laser.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's also the motivation for your most recent laser.
Yeah. Well, I had to get something because...
And this new laser is almost double the price of the original laser?
No, about 5,000 more. So it was like 12 and 17.
So now, what do you imagine yourself doing with the new laser?
Well, I'm kicking around the idea of getting rid of it and putting that money towards the CNC.
Okay. I was wondering about that.
Because I don't need both, you know?
Yeah.
I really don't use the laser. It's cool to have, but like, I don't need it.
It takes up a decent amount of space.
Yeah. And that could be used for like finishing. That could be like a table where stuff is either getting staged or prepped or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's right adjacent to the finishing there. I could even make like a little, I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. But the main thing that I use the laser for now is like making templates and stuff like that. Well, if I have a CNC, I don't need the laser for that.
Yeah.
So I sell that. Let's say I get 10 grand for it. I could probably get a little bit more.
Okay.
I mean, it's only got 20 hours on it or something like that. That's a nice little down payment on a CNC.
So what is what's going on with the CNC?
I've definitely put a more, I think, realistic timeline on it. My goal is not by the end of this year.
Okay.
I would have already had to buy something, you know, because you have like 8 to 12 week lead times on most machines. I don't know. I'm sort of leaning away from Shop Sabre now.
Okay.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
And so you'll just keep working on the relationship that you have now with the guy that's cutting your cabinets.
Yeah. So my idea is that I really should just continue having my parts cut until it's not sustainable at all.
I like that. I mean, I like the idea of keeping your overhead as low as possible for as long as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, overhead is just such a killer.
Yeah.
So if you can keep your overhead down, and I mean, then you don't have that that big tool in your shop taking up all that space. You can focus on getting the jobs.
Mm-hmm.
You keep that guy busy. You're busy. I don't know. Does he have any competitors?
Well, yeah, like we used to use that guy Steve in Connecticut. So there's,
So you can shop around if you need to.
Oh, yeah.
And if you get 2 or 3 jobs going, if you get ahead of them, you got somewhere to go.
Right.
I like that. And then if you get to the point where, people just can't keep up with you and it makes financial sense, then you pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah. And maybe I do it so that I have to mark up the CNC services. So maybe I allocate a portion of that markup to go get socked away. And it's like, $5 for every sheet that gets cut is going straight to purchasing a CNC, or whatever, $25.
Smart. Yeah. I think that's a good idea. I think that's a good idea, and focus on getting the jobs. And, especially the thing is, if you end up getting hooked up with a builder around here,
mm-hmm.
and you start to be busy on a regular basis, you're always going to be busy.
That's my hope. I want to cut boxes. That's what I want to do.
Well, the thing is, you get into anywhere from Rumson to Maniloking.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get that, first of all, it's nice traveling. Even if you're going to Maniloking, it's reverse flow.
40 minutes.
Anytime you go up north, you have an X factor.
Yep.
I grew up in North Jersey. I grew up an hour and 20 minutes north of here. And I can't stand going up north because you're going to get jammed up at the Oranges
mm-hmm.
on the Parkway.
Yep.
Something's going to happen.
Have those stupid toll plazas, two of them in the middle of the Parkway with no express lane.
It's just like, I don't know. There's like a stress factor that comes that I get when I have to travel north. Now, that being said, I will never go up there on a weekend in the summer because, you might get, hit with short traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But in the fall, I will go up on like a Saturday morning if I'm going to go on a hike with my cousin or something. But then it's sort of like nobody's really out on the road yet. You go on a Saturday or Sunday morning. But yeah, if you can get busy from Fairhaven to Maniloking, get those builders, and there's just we talked about it last week. I mentioned Bay Head through Maniloking, Point Pleasant. The mm-hmm. homes there are just, of course, Rumson, Deal. Yeah. Although I don't know, the Deal area.
Deal's pretty cliquey.
Yeah, I think it is. I've heard that if you get in there, it's good. But I had a couple bad experiences in my business with them.
You hear that from most people.
Yeah. Where they just waste your time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that happens once. It's funny because I think, I was working with a client and they were going to buy everything. This is going to they're going to buy everything. Mm-hmm. It's just like this crazy thing. They end up buying like one thing and it was like the most inexpensive thing. And then like maybe 3 weeks later, one of their friends approaches me and they want all this artwork. And
but give us a good deal on this small one first.
Well, it's even worse because they wanted all this artwork and they said, we really want to live with it for a little while so we can see we like it. So if you could bring it down Friday morning and pick it up on Monday, that'd be great. And I looked at Laurel and I said, they're decorating their house for a party. Let's just say, no, we can't do it and see if they come back. Never heard another word from them.
Yeah, we could do it next week.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm not putting everybody in a basket, but that's the situation that I was feeling there.
Yeah.
And that's what I've heard from a lot of people.
Spring Lake is really nice.
Spring Lake. There's a town, Seager is beautiful.
Seager, yep.
Did a couple of jobs in Seager when I was I started working as a finish carpenter right after 9/11. So we had opened our business in 1999 and we were getting ready for this art show. It was probably we were actually setting up on 9/11. And a guy who was working for me, we drove over to the gallery and we're kind of cleaning up the walls and hanging all these things. And one of the one of the sculptures that was right in the window was by this sculptor named Don Bonham. Really talented guy. Did all this work in fiberglass. And the sculpture was like a human body attached to a bomb.
Oh, you told me about this.
Oh, yeah. So like that's right in the window.
And they canceled the thing, right?
Well, so we're hanging the show. We're like working in the gallery, not listening to the radio. And we get back into the truck to drive back and pick up some more tools or something. And we're listening to Howard Stern and they're talking about this. And we're like, what's going on?
Was this in the city?
No, this is when we had the gallery in Red Bank. In Red Bank.
Okay.
And then so Matt, the guy who works for me, we go into the house and we start looking at the TV. My wife's out on a walk. She comes back in. I'm like, Laurel, look what's going on here. And everybody was just like shocked. And, right away they're calling a state of emergency. And so I was like, Matt, you better take off because he actually was commuting from North Jersey.
Oh, wow.
So he took off. And anyway, long and short of it, we never.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Joke.
That's my role. The coughing and wheezing is my role.
Spit.
Anyway, we did cancel that show. I think we canceled the opening. It was, and this artist his artwork wasn't about violence at all. Like if you look at him, he's an unbelievable craftsman. He's passed away years ago, but that just happened to be like he was really into airplanes. So he had like these airplane shapes that would look like an F-15 fighter that on the nose of it would be like a human figure with goggles on. It was really cool stuff. This is the funny thing about artwork, right? There's so many really talented artists that if I had like the right home with the right architecture and pretty deep pockets, I could collect really cool art that wasn't recognized by the art world at all. But it would look awesome. Mm-hmm. Because the art world only picks a few people because that's how they make money.
Right.
They can just keep saying, oh, this person's really great. If you don't have, it's really a trophy. It's a trophy for the people in the know. So even cooler, like let's just say like you were, just had fun, silly money to play with. Instead of buying the $2 million Jeff Koons, you could buy a $25,000 Larry Zox, and it would just look awesome.
And not a lot of other people have it. Well, I guess not a lot of other people have Jeff Koons either, but
no. Well, more people do have Jeff Koons because Jeff Koons and Damien Hirst, they create factories. These artists don't even generally touch their work anymore.
Right. Which seems crazy to me.
That's just how it is. So just think about it though.
It's like a brand name at the.
That's what you're buying. You're buying a trophy.
It's like when you buy a Stickley.
Yeah.
Stickley died, 85 years ago. Like,
yeah, it's wild, but they're like, so this guy, Don Bonham, you can probably buy his work relatively inexpensively. I mean, you'd have to try to find out where it is at this point. But you'd also have to be committed to living with sculpture, right? So one thing I learned very early on as an artist selling artwork is it's a hell of a lot easier to sell a painting than it is a sculpture because everybody has a wall, but not everybody has a place that they want to dedicate to having a sculpture.
Yeah, like where do you put that, in a foyer?
Yeah.
That's like, I can't think of another place that would be practical in a home.
Well,
unless it could sit on a table or something.
You and I are thinking of practical homes.
Right.
If you get out of that and you start thinking of like these crazy homes, then you're like...
You could design the home around these pieces of art.
Yeah.
You're having it built.
It's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
So anyway, sometimes in my mind, I entertain the idea of like having like a pretty cool modern house.
Mm-hmm.
And then going on, it's almost like a hunt for art then, because you're not really going for the what's popular. It's more like what's good and how it connects to history. And there's a lot of art like that. There's a lot of really, really good art that nobody even knows, and it's just sitting in a closet right now.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
And like, yeah, that's like the kind of stuff that ends up on like, say, Antiques Roadshow. Like they're like, yeah, you know, my grandma had this thing. She's had it ever since I can remember. And they're like, oh yeah, this is like by, you know, whomever.
Yeah. There's a really funny movie called, it's called What the F is a Jackson Pollock? And it's about this older woman. She must be in her 70s, and she's a truck driver. And one of her friends is feeling down, and she finds this painting like in a yard sale or wherever. And she buys it for her friend. And the friend's like, what the hell do I want with this thing? And then so she ends up taking it back. And then someone sees it somewhere and says, I think that's a Jackson Pollock. And so it becomes this whole thing where some people are trying to prove it is a Jackson Pollock. And then the establishment, the powers that be really are trying to prove that it's not. But meanwhile, it's got his thumbprint on the back of the canvas with the paint that he was using at the time. So in my view, it's a Jackson Pollock. Like how else could they get his thumbprint? But the people who don't stand to make any money, they're all trying to convince everybody that it's not a Jackson Pollock.
Yeah, because they don't want to see the underdog.
They think it's somehow going to devalue. But meanwhile, I believe at some point she was offered $9 million for it. But if it is a Jackson Pollock, it's worth, I think, north of $50 million.
Wow.
You know, it's crazy. Especially
because it's an unknown. Like, I'm sure every Jackson Pollock painting, for the most part, has been cataloged and analyzed. And, you know, you could probably buy a book and it has them all with the values. And, you know, so now they're like, oh, there's this new painting. It's going to be worth an exorbitant amount because. Yeah,
it's wild. I mean,
it's like when they find a manuscript that an author wrote a book and died, and then they find this book and they're like, holy shit, like, you know, we didn't realize that Stephen King wrote this. Maybe that's not great.
But that's the funny thing. So like if somebody with some sort of power and connections and money had found it, they'd probably have an easier time convincing everybody that it was an original. Mm-hmm. Same thing with this Jackson Pollock. It's like, oh, what do you mean? It was found by this 70-year-old woman truck driver? It can't be an original.
Right. Yeah. You know somebody was just selling it at a yard sale for $10.
But meanwhile, somebody did offer her, I believe, like $9 million. Now, this documentary has got to be 12 years old at least. So she's pushing it, but I'm sure she has children. It's a good documentary. If you're interested in this kind of stuff, I think it's called What the F is a Jackson Pollock.
Let's look it up. Maybe she sold it.
Yeah, the art world is pretty wild because you have to think when Jackson Pollock was making those paintings, there were a lot of other artists doing similar work. Like actually, a lot of people believe that his wife, Lee Krasner, was the first one who made drip paintings. Yeah. There it is. It looks like a Pollock to me.
Bought it from a thrift shop for $5.
Yeah. Check out that movie. You'll enjoy it. It's a fun. Now I want to watch it again.
She was offered $9
million.
Yeah, and then she said she'll take no less than $50 million.
Gosh.
She died in 2019 without having sold the painting.
Should have sold it.
Yeah. Well, I guess one of her, it's from 2006. One of her next of kin might have it.
I mean, it's funny, like, not that it's not easy to rip off a Jackson Pollock once you've, sort of studied it, but it looks kind of like a Jackson Pollock to me.
I mean, if it has his thumbprint on there. If somebody offered $9 million.
That's what I mean.
It can't be a fake. Who's going to spend $9 million on it?
That's what I think. So anyway, that was that's another movie that I recommend. So I think the first thing I recommended was that Beef show. Good series.
Oh yeah.
I'm always looking for something good to watch.
Yeah, I have to finish The Bear season 3.
Walter. So the funny thing is, Walter has the subscription to whatever The Bear is on Hulu. And so he put it so we could just all watch it in the TV room. And then I guess my daughter gave the login to one of her friends. And Walter is like really fastidious with like everything he does.
Yeah.
So I guess he's somewhere. He gets a notification that someone in Brooklyn or something is logged in. And he's like, what the hell is this? So
changing his password.
Yeah, so he changed everything. And I'm just lazy, so I don't know how to. I just need to get it and like get in there because I'm not going to buy a subscription to Hulu, but I would like to see. I would like to see the third episode of The Bear.
Yeah, we watched maybe the first 3 or 4 episodes. Seems to be a little slow moving this season. Like not a whole lot happening, but they're building up to something.
Talking of food shows, did you see The Menu?
No, I heard that was good though.
The Menu is really good.
Yeah, I heard that's good.
That's such a good movie.
My wife saw that.
I think I've done this a few times where I'll pay to watch something on Amazon. And I'll never pay $19. That's sort of like my cutoff. I'll pay $5.99, but if I see $19, I'm not going to watch it.
Especially to rent.
Yeah,
because like the new movies are $20 to rent.
Yeah,
but it's cheaper than going to the movies.
Oh, and I'd rather watch a movie at home.
Me too.
I'm like I said before, I'm an old and boring guy. So I ended up buying something for $5. Oh, I ended up buying The Menu, and then I think we were finishing it up, and Michael walks by or something, says, "Oh, you could have got that on Netflix
for free." Yeah,
I've done that before.
Here's the bank manager. A month I've been waiting for my new credit card.
Why?
No idea.
Jeez. What credit card?
PNC. So when we went and signed the bill of sale and stuff for Rob's retirement, we had to close the existing credit card account because we were both guarantors. And so we had to close that one. I had to open a new one. That was like July 26th.
Jeez.
It's now August 27th.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So you're going to go to a new bank?
No, that's like a whole pain in the ass. Yeah. We do need to do something with today's Craftsman. But
like a LLC?
Well, that's all done, but I mean a bank account.
All right. Yeah, we got to start making some money.
Yeah. They're going to be like, where do we send the check? And we're like, can you send an envelope full of cash?
Yeah, there you go.
That'd be nice. What do you say? You want to wrap this one up?
Yeah, that's good by me.
Yeah. Make sure you check out tomorrow's video about exterior project. What would you call it? Materials, finishing.
I think it's like
exterior glues, putties, and caulks.
Yeah. Yeah. What I'll end up doing is doing a search for that, looking for a decent title. That usually helps me write the description, figures out the thumbnail, and we'll probably have another viral video.
Yeah, we can only hope. Make sure you, if you're listening to the podcast, you enjoy it, tell a friend. Same thing with the YouTube channel, and follow us on Instagram if you're not already. Talk to you next week.
All right, see you guys.
If you enjoyed this episode, please tell a friend or share it on social media. You can leave a review of this podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And don't forget, today's Craftsman YouTube channel has an upload every Saturday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. We'll see you next week.